My name is Hannah Schmidt, and I teach 7th grade science at Gilbert Middle School. This will be my 10th year of teaching, but my 4th at Gilbert. I grew up in Marion, Iowa. I went to Linnmore High School, and my first 6 years of teaching were spent at Des Moines North High School, where I taught a variety of subjects from biology to environmental science to physics. And then I was hired at Gilbert again 4 years ago, and I've been teaching 7th grade science ever since. So I think most teachers, or many teachers, have the idea very early on that they want to go into teaching, and I feel that my background is a little bit different than that. I did not know until a little bit later that I wanted to be a teacher. But I do remember a distinct memory of my 7th grade middle school science teacher had just a really unique way of incorporating humor and interest into his classroom. And that was really my first spark or inspiration that I also wanted to go into science. I always knew that I loved science and I wanted to do something in science. I just wasn't quite sure what that was. But I've always wanted to pass on a love and a passion for science and just a better way to understand the world around us. And I think teaching science is the best way to do that. I feel very lucky to be a science teacher. I think I, bias of course, teach the best subject. It's one that typically in Gilbert, kids are very interested in. I don't have to persuade them very much to do the investigations that we do. And part of that is teaching middle schoolers as well. I really love teaching middle school. I've taught high school before, and high schoolers are great too. But middle schoolers are just different, and they have a really good sense of humor, and they're able to tell me things about themselves that I can incorporate into my lessons, and that's, middle school is just so unique. So middle school science is really combining those two ideas where they're super engaged, they're interested in what we're learning, and that's what makes science really fun. I also think that we as science teachers like to lead our instruction with what we call phenomena, which is studying, like I mentioned earlier, just the world around us and how through classroom instruction and investigations that we do, we can better understand the world around us. And I think that's such an important application to science within a classroom. Gilbert is such an amazing place to be at, and although all the schools are amazing, I feel really lucky to work at the middle school. We have an amazing administrator that supports us, and I think one of the limiting factors as a teacher is time. There's never enough time in the day to educate 140 students and meet all of their needs at the same time. But I do feel so fortunate that our time is honored and respected, and we are provided the time so that we can plan to meet the variety of needs that we have in a classroom. So a supportive administration is the number one reason why I love teaching here. But also the community. Although I've only been here 4 years, my husband is a Gilbert graduate, and his family has been in the community, all through their education and raising children. So when I was looking to maybe land somewhere different, I knew it would be Gilbert, and I was waiting for something to open up at Gilbert because I knew I wanted to be here, just from everything that my family has told me about the community. So it's really a great place to raise my children as well. And then finally, speaking about our amazing students, I've already mentioned, but I remember when I was first hired, it was still in the spring and I was still working at my previous school, but I begged Mr. Danielson to let me come shadow for the day just because I was so eager to get here and see what it was like here. And I will never forget stepping into a classroom, a variety of classrooms, and just how engaged the students were. They were owning their learning, they were collaborating with one another, and it was just such a unique thing to see that I hadn't seen in other schools. Again, just the engagement from students. So what do I like to do outside of school? I think that when you have young children, I have a 4- and 6-year-old at home, so many of your interests and hobbies get lost in just the day-to-day running people to different places and making sure that they are taken care of. So I'll phrase this question in what am I doing when I am not here, and that is typically running my kiddos to their activities And I love to cook. That's something I liked to do before I had kids. I do enjoy cooking, but otherwise you will find us outside a lot. We spend a lot of weekends when it's nice outside at McFarland Park or at Ada Hayden, and we travel as much as we can. We are limited to that somewhat, but we do enjoy to get out of town and just go to different places. A final message to my students would be, I don't know if you know that I do this or not, but one of my favorite things to do when you are working with your classmates is just to step back and watch you collaborate, watch you talk, listen to you ask questions, engage in the investigation. And that is one of my favorite parts of teaching, is again, just to take that step back and to watch. So I would say thank you to my students. You make me laugh every day, you make me smile every day, and I enjoy coming to school because of you.